The increase in choices that we got with cable television was huge in terms of its effect on storytelling and its effect on the quality of storytelling that happened in the TV medium versus film. With all of this choice, this explosion of choice, there was a huge downside, which was that it fragmented the audience. And that meant that the normal economic model of how TV worked and how it would be consumed no longer worked that way. And so for example, the number of people in the audience for any show on network started to fall, and fall radically. Now, the upside of it was that with all this extra choice, the need to write a show that appealed to the lowest common denominator, i.e. the biggest number of possible people that we can get to watch our show, that changed. And now we could create a show that would appeal to a smaller segment, still influential segment of the audience, but a much smaller segment. And so you get a show like Mad Men on AMC, which has maybe 3 million viewers per episode. That's peanuts in network. And yet this show has tremendous influence. And the people who watch Mad Men, who love Mad Men, are people that the sponsors want to get to. But what that also meant then was that if we don't have to try to appeal to everybody with, again, the idea that it's the lowest common denominator, we don't want to speak above people, and so there was the tendency to dumb down the story. The reverse occurred, which was, for this audience, let's make the most challenging story possible. It also meant, because the way cable worked, especially pay cable, it was all about, let's come up with a show that will appeal to our subscribers, not to the largest audience. And so the freedom to do something really unique and different was there for the creators. And that's also where we started to get the serials coming in and so on. So all of these things work together to come up with a number of shows now that are as good as we've ever had in television. We are now in the golden age of television. And a good reason for that is because of the presence of cable and how that allowed us to do a lot more genres and tell stories to a much more focused audience. So we've got a cable channel like AMC that can generate 3 of the best shows that have ever been on television in Breaking Bad, Mad Men, and Walking Dead, each in their own unique genre. Not possible on network.
Why was there a tendency to dumb down the content and how the actors sort of relayed their message to the audience? Why is it now acceptable to either be at their level or above?
I think it was, again, one of those pieces of conventional wisdom which are oftentimes wrong. Just as the idea that you have to have likable characters, which was proven wrong, the idea that you have to write down to the audience was proven wrong. And again, Seinfeld was a big step in that direction. The perception was that in order to get the biggest possible audience, and remember, when in the old days, we're talking 30 million people to watch every week that show. That's a lot of people. And so the idea was, we can't do these huge differences in terms of either intelligence or in terms of where we take the characters, the highs and lows and so on, the complexity of how we have these characters interact. We can't do any of that stuff if we're trying to get 30 million people a week. That at least was the perception of it. And there may be some truth to it, because there is no cable show that gets 30 million people a week, not even close. But the point is that when you no longer had that requirement from above, which was you've got to appeal to this many people, then it was, how do we tell the best story we can tell? Now, another key feature is that over the years, writers have taken total control of the medium. And in my view, this is the single most important reason why the writing in television is better than any other medium in American entertainment. Writers control the medium, not directors, not producers, not movie stars. And the result is plain for everybody to see. It used to be that film was thought as the little brother, oh well, if you can't make it in film, well, you can maybe try television. Well, that's completely flipped now. And again, it's because of this fractured audience. Film still, they're trying to appeal to a worldwide audience. That's even bigger than 30 million people. They're trying to get people all over the world, which is why the differences of what we see in film are now the narrowest it's ever been. We basically have, out of Hollywood, superhero movies. That's it. Yeah, at Oscar time, you'll get maybe the 5 films that Hollywood made that year that are dramas, that are serious works of art, that we then get to nominate for Best Picture. And then everybody forgets that for the whole, other 11 and a half months of the year, they're putting out superhero movies, comic book hero movies. That's because that story form, that genre, which is essentially myth plus action, appeals to the largest number of people in various cultures around the world. TV doesn't have that requirement, so it can do things as different as Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, Downton Abbey, The Good Wife, and so on. And the quality within those genres on TV is so high. If you look at, say, the 9 major TV genres, you could argue that on 7 of those 9, we have the best show of that genre right now on that we've ever had. That's phenomenal.